Hello again and welcome to my channel. I'm Linda from Gunnut Lane Wearable Art Jewellery. Got another video for you today, and it's another earring, but it's an absolutely stunning earring, so I think you're all going to enjoy it very, very much. I'm going to try and talk a little bit louder. I've had another comment about I'm talking too quietly, so yeah, sorry about that, guys, but I just speak quietly. I'm just a soft-spoken person. Okay, let's get started. What we're going to need for this earring tutorial, I better show you the earring first. This is it here. It's a lovely little cluster of gemstones around the top of a faceted amethyst briolette. And yeah, I just think it's absolutely stunning. We're going to learn to make our own little head pins for this, because to buy we need a 26 gauge head pin, and they're almost impossible to get in base wire. You can get them in silver and gold filled. If you want to spend that kind of money, go ahead. I would suggest you get the ball headed ones. But yeah, if you can afford to buy them, that's great. If not, we're just going to use base wire. So I've got some silver wire here. This I'll just give this a quick measure. It don't have to be exact what I'm going to measure here, because you're going to be cutting a bit off anyway. So that's roughly about 6 centimeters. Yeah, about 6 centimeters. No, 6 millimeters. Sorry about that. Oh my goodness, get all these things confused. Okay, so you're going to need chain nose pliers. I would suggest the finest tip that you've got. Also round nose pliers. I've got 2 sets here. Those in a finer tip one. Your cutters and a wire straightener if you have one. Okay, and you're going to need 48 beads, little gemstone cut beads. These are little faceted gemstone ones here, and a couple of little freshwater pearls, seed pearls in there. Briolette, you just choose whatever size briolette you want to put on it, totally up to you. This one, I should give you a measurement on it, just in case you want to know. This one is just over 1 centimetre in length and just over 1 centimetre in width as well. And of course, being a briolette, it's top drilled. So we're going to also need 26 gauge wire and 30 gauge wire. Okay, let's get started. This is yeah, a little bit of work in this one. Okay, we'll get started with making our head pins. So I'm just going to grab my fine nose, flat nose pliers, and all you're going to do is just grab the tip of that wire like that, and just give it a bend. Just all you want looking for is a hook, if you can see that. So just a hook like that. Then go up to the thicker part of your chain nose pliers and give it a squish. It might take a couple of goes to get it as flat as you want it. You want it fairly flat. Bit more than that. Can be a little bit fiddly, but you'll get there. Once again, this is much easier to do off camera than it is on camera. Okay, I think I've got that now. You can sort of feel it happening. So you want it to be flat like that, so your bead's not going to come off the end. So that's just an easy way to do a head pin. I'll do it one more time. You don't want it to be too big of a hook. That's the main thing. You don't want it to come down too far. So like that. And then just stop the thicker part of your pliers, which makes it a bit easier. There we go. Got that there. Okay, so that's 2 head pins made. So from here, excuse me. So from here, I'm just going to thread on the last of my beads here. I've done all the other ones in advance, so it wouldn't take too long. I'm just going to move my camera back a little bit. Here, that was another comment I had, staying on camera. Okay, from here, chain those pliers. I'm just going to use my little fine tip ones. And we're just going to bend that, making a loop. Just like that. So the next one. See how much you've got left over, so you can make these, you know, as long as you feel comfortable making them. All right, so what we're going to do, we're going to make a little chain. So I've got a chain of 7 beads and a chain of 8 beads, and this one will be 9 beads. So they're all, I've already turned all of those. So, and I've got one here to start with. So we've got our little head there, and then I've just wire wrapped that one there. So you're just going to pick up one of your beads here, connect it in. And this is fiddly because they're little beads, but you can do it. If I can do it, you can do it. Okay, just grabbing that little loop there like that. And because this wire's nice and fine, you can easily wrap that around without using other pliers. Grabbing your cutters and getting in as close as you can. Snipping that off. You don't really have to worry that much about pushing these in because they are a cluster, but I still like to finish them off the best I can, just in case it catches in someone's hair. Just pushing it in like that. So then the next one you're going to add on to the last one that you added on. So the pink one was my first one. The purple, the amethyst, was my second. So my third one, and it doesn't matter which one you put in, I've just chosen a mixture of colours. I had a strand of, what do they call, watermelon tourmaline. So that's what I've used in these, plus the little seed pearl. So you add it into the last one. So what we're actually making is a chain. So grabbing that and wrapping that around. So there, that's far enough. Cutters. And pushing that little barb down. Okay, so the black one was my last one on. And now just pick up another colour, whatever colour you want. And threading it into the black one. So I'm going to carry on with this until I've got the 9 on, and then I'll come back and we'll get into the rest of the earring. Okay, so I'm back. So I've strung all my 9 beads on this little chain. So we've got 7, 8 and 9 beads strung in a chain. So now I've got about a 12 centimetre piece of 26 gauge wire here. And why we're using such fine wire on this earring is because these are gemstones, so they've got a very small hole in them, and you can only fit 28 gauge wire. Some you can fit a 24 gauge wire through, but better to be safe than sorry. So we're going to string on the briolette, and we're going to make our triangle at the top, just crossing your wires over like that, making sure that they cross right above the point of the briolette, like that. So I'm going to take my chain nose pliers, my fine tip chain nose pliers, and I'm just going to bend the longest wire just straight up like that. You can pretty much do it with your fingers, but to get a bit of a bend in it, it's better to do it with your chain nose pliers. So from here, I'm just going to grab my little triangle at the top. Make sure you've got a 90-degree angle. And just wrap the short tail around the long one. Just a couple of times. That's plenty. Taking your cutters, cutting off that as close as you possibly can. I don't worry about burnishing down that tip there, because it's going to be wrapped up anyway. Okay, I'm back. Sorry, I had someone at the front door. Okay, now what I want, sorry, I had to stop and think then what I wanted to. I'm going to take the chain of 9 beads and just roughly find the center. Go through the center of your chain here through one of the little loops. Let that drop down. Then pick up your chain of 8 and do the same. Let that drop down, and your chain of 7. And just roughly finding the center. So it should be looking like that. Okay, from here we're going to take our chain nose pliers. Sorry, I've got to pop a bead on. I forgot about that. Where did I put my beads? Just going to choose one little crystal rondelle shaped bead. It doesn't have to be a rondelle, whatever you've got. Pop that on first. Sorry, I forgot to mention that earlier. Okay, so I've popped on that a little gemstone bead there, and that's going to be to hold our cluster in place. Okay, from here we're going to grab some of our 38 gauge wire, sorry, 30 gauge wire, not 38, and I'm going to cut off a decent length. Probably about 2 feet, I would say. Okay, so now we're just going to start wrapping around our 26 gauge wire. So it's probably easier to start at the top and just push it down. Okay, and get that wrapped around. Just enough to hold it at the moment. There, and then we're just going to start wrapping. I'm actually doing this back to front the way I normally do it. I wrap the opposite way, but anyway, it'll work out. Okay, just pushing those coils in together. So just wrapping around. Pushing them down. can move it down a little bit if you're running out of room. And we're going to do this till we've got about 1.5 inches. Moving that down a little bit more, just leaving yourself enough room. Making sure you keep the coils next to each other, don't overlap them. Okay, just like that, and I'll come back when I've got 1.5 inches. All right, see you soon. Okay, back. I made a boo-boo on that measurement. I was thinking of another earring that I was making. It's actually about 3/4 of an inch that you want to wrap up that 26 gauge wire there. So I've done the 3/4 of an inch. I shouldn't try and measure things in inches. I know centimetres so much better, and it always buggers me up. Okay, so trim off that wire. Grab your chain nose pliers. You don't need to worry about your little end there. It's going to get wrapped into the earring anyway. We'll trim off this other end here. I forgot about that one. So get that in as close to the coil as you can. Okay, now take your chain nose pliers and up the largest part of your chain nose pliers, grabbing that and just turning your coil over, repositioning, bringing it around to the front like that. So that you've got a loop like that at the top. Don't worry if it's off kilter at the moment, we'll fix that up. So just attaching back in your pliers. And we're just going to wrap around. Just have to move the clusters out of the way as you're doing it. Just wrapping around, but just above the top of the bead that we added on to hold everything in place. It just takes a little bit of manoeuvring, making sure you don't get any of your cluster beads caught up in it. Just go around about 3 times. That's enough, and now we can tilt that back so that we've got it nice and straight like that. And taking your cutters, cut off that tail in nice and close. Grabbing your chain nose pliers. If you've got a pair of fine ones, it's even better. And just getting in there and pushing that little end down so you can't feel anything. Okay, and that's our little earring. Now what we need to do is add an ear wire. I've made this ear wire, which is a bit different from the one I showed you in the previous one, so I'm going to make that ear wire now. Just grabbing a piece of 20 gauge wire. You need this one to be a little bit longer because you've got a bigger loop. Okay, cut that length there. So a piece about so long. Grabbing around those pliers, making a loop on the end, bringing it around till it touches your wire, and then going up. I've got a marker on my pliers here, and bringing it up so that your loop is sitting on top of the round nose pliers, and then just bending that back up Oops, sorry, I was off camera then. Bending that back up like that. And straighten that out a little bit. Don't have to worry about it because you can hammer it if you like. Okay. And then I didn't bring my mandrel over again. What have I got round here that I can reach? This is probably not quite thick enough, but we'll see what we can do with it. And just bending your wire over, getting that round shape. Cutting off your end. How long did I make that one? Same length. Just like that. Chain those pliers. Don't forget to burnish your end down. I'll do mine when I finish this video. So you take the rough edge off the end, very tip. You don't want to stick anything sharp inside your ear or anybody else's ear. So just like that. See, they're a little bit different shaped, but it doesn't matter. I can fix that up later. Popping on. And as I said, I'll hammer these later. They're a little bit out of shape, but you get the general idea of what I'm talking about. So this is, I think, an absolutely gorgeous pair of earrings that anybody would just love to have. Those beautiful faceted lavender briolets there, they're just absolutely gorgeous. The clarity on them is just, they're so pretty. So guys, leave me a comment down the bottom, let me know what you think. I'd like to know that I'm on the right track here, that you're enjoying what I'm doing. If there's something else you'd like to see, let me know. Yeah, please hit the like button. Really helps me out. And if you haven't subscribed, I'd appreciate it if you did so. And hit the bell so that you don't miss any notifications of so that you get notifications of when I put out a new video, so you don't miss anything. All right, guys, thanks a lot for your company today, and yeah, see you all in the next video. Have a good one. Bye.